My name is Alh Lawal Rufai Safana. I retired as a permanent secretary in the Katsina Civil Service under the Ministry for Local Government Chieftaincy Affairs. If I have to give you a little of my biodata, I was born some 61 years ago. I've served, I've always been a civil servant up to 2015 when I retired, and of course I'm happily married with a nice children. Well, okay, no, but I think that will I'll probably need to go back a little into the background and tell you that I am from Safana town, and Safana town is bordering the Rugu forest, and I grew up in Safana in a family of traditional rulership. My father happened to be the district head there. My grandfather was there, also the district head. Currently, my brother is the district head. So, I'm giving you this background in order to make you understand that in historical terms, I have seen what I have seen when I was a child. And what I saw when I was a child is that the Fulani, those that were living in the villages and hamlets that are located within the Rugu forest, were people that respected traditional authorities. In every society, including that of Fulani, there are bad acts, and there are traditions and customs that people respect tremendously, and the Fulani are people that respect their customs and traditions tremendously. Now, it is not that the Fulani were never violent at all. The Fulani have always been like any other community. They have their internal problems within themselves and within the communities that they lived with. Now, those little problems that cause, skirmishes and misgivings between people, between communities, in those days when we were children, were absolutely contained by the traditional rules. And the Fulani respected the traditional rules tremendously. But there were people that see nothing in violence. It's like violence is part of their culture. If you recall, I don't know whether you've seen it when you were a child. You know this tradition of show.
Yes.
Yeah. So you will see Fulani, using very sharp sticks and hitting themselves and even wounding themselves in the process, and it is tradition. And when you are beaten this year, you will not take revenge until next year. That is the tradition. And Fulani are people that live in the forest, and therefore armed with them always is a stick and a sword or a knife. You will never see a Fulani man. You will never see a Fulani man in the forest without any weapon in his hand. Either that stick that he holds in the back like this, or his sword on his lap, or a very sharp knife under his shorts. Maybe because they lived in the villages. But the truth is that they can easily use these weapons. They are easily provoked. Sometimes when we were children, we used to go out, and they using our catapults and just hunting like children outside. But the moment we come across a Fulani, for no reason whatsoever, he will pursue us back home. For no reason at all, simply because you have come their way. So they are not. They have not been as tolerant as one would have wished to see traditionally. And then, as time goes on, as their population and their number grew, they started crossing their communities, especially the farmers, because they are herdsmen moving from one place to another with their cattle. If they come across your farm, they can just, move their cattle into it, devour all what you have planted and raised, and they don't make a hoot about it. It's when you report them to the traditional authorities, they will call themselves and their parents, and then that is when action will be taken, and they respected those actions. So it is not that. I think the fundamental problem that I would associate with the current state of Fulani Banditry is that there is a gap has been created in the livelihood of our people in the villages. This gap is a gap of authority. These people have always respected and lived under the authority of their traditional rulers. They respect what they do, they respect what they say, and they are about the only people that they listen to. Now we came to a situation where, especially between 1999 to date, when Nigeria was in full democracy, full cycle, right from the village level, what you have is a local government councillor, then you come to the local government chairman, and then up to the state to governorship and all that. Now, I think what happened is that politics or democracy, as we are practicing it today, kind of created a gap between the government and the government. Now, we adopted a local government system, a democratically elected local government system that did not make room for our traditional culture. And this is where I think a gap was created. When you go to our local governments today, you see authority only within the local government headquarters, because that is where the councillor is, that is where the chairman is, that is where everybody is. Leave the headquarters, go into the villages, there is no authority. You only have the policeman there, because the traditional rulers, the traditional way we work, the traditional village head, the traditional district head do not have any powers to do anything whatsoever. And these Fulanis are people that are living in the villages and in the forests. Democracy has not reached them. It has not touched them. They don't know it. What they know to date is traditional governments. These are the people that reach them. These are the people that touch them. Now, we have come to a situation where these people have absolutely no authority to do anything whatsoever. And I think this gap that we've had now for 20 years, from 1999 to date, is over 20 years, is probably one of the major reasons why the Fulani have gone haywire. Because there is no authority today that is coordinator or responsible for their affairs. The local government councillor, after his election, will leave the village to the city. and you may not go back at all. The local government chairman is of course far away. And these are traditional people who still behave traditionally, even in their own personal life, their own community and family life. All their affairs are purely traditional. And therefore, the link that is between the village head or the Mekungwa with the heart of Osaki Fulani is actually what has cemented the relationship of the Fulani with other people within our communities. This has been broken. Because the traditional rulers have no authority that they used to have to coordinate, to put their mouth in whatever a Fulani community would do and take decision by authority and make them behave as usual. These things are not new. We grew up in our villages. We've seen all these things during our childhood. We live in the palace courts, and we've seen how day in day out Fulanis were brought from the villages in the forest, having fought, some with their brothers, some with their fathers and uncles. I still recall a Fulani man that was brought to my father's court who has broken the head of his own mother because of a problem between himself and his brother, which he believed the mother was siding his brother. These people, are sometimes violent.
So, based on this experience which you have had with the Fulanis, how can you describe this common psyche of a typical Fulani man? And to also add up is, we would like you to differentiate, because most people, especially from the southern part of this country, believe that when they say Fulani, they see it as a general term. And to us, we see, okay, there are Fulanis, the educated ones living in the cities, and the ones living in the forest. So we'll like you to add more lights on that. But specifically, how do they think? For someone to have stabbed his mother, what kind of psyche based on the experiences you have?
You see, the major thing that you have to understand is that the ordinary Fulani man in the village, does not respect anything more than the way he respects that hearts of cattle. That is the most important thing in his life. You see, they are not very well educated. They are not exposed to the current civilizations of society. They live in their own enclave, if you like, and they have not been exposed to the outside world, and so they are still living their own kind of life the way you know it 50 or more than those years ago. They have not changed at all. Now we now came to a situation. I'll give you not this. The local government system came in 1976. That is when the position of traditional rulers in community government completely disintegrated. It was completely broken, because now the local government system is supposed to take over, and this is a system that recognizes only people that are elected into office, and the whole authority is with these people. The traditional government that we used to know is now completely raised down. They have no authority to do anything. But fortunately or unfortunately, between 1976 to 1999, we've continued having interruptions with military administrations. The only democratic government we had was the 4 years that the 1979 to 1983, which the government of Shagari did. Now, military administrations had no other authorities that they used to govern more than civil servants and traditional rulers. And this is why traditional rulers remained relevant, because of the type of government that was for the military governments. They remained relevant between 1976 up to 1999, because the little break that we have in 1979 to 83 did not so much show to affect their relationship with their communities in terms of their authority. But Now that we've had democracy from 1999 to date, which is now over 20 years, so democracy has taken its full course. And this is why, between that period to date, there is total breakdown of law and order in our forests and villages. Because the people that used to oversee those areas and show some form of authority in coordinating the affairs of those people in the villages are now completely out of the scheme of things. If you are not a councillor, if you are not a local government chairman, you have no authority whatsoever. If you note, you will find that most of the Fulani bandits that you keep seeing being displayed on the media today are young boys that are between the ages of 20, 26, 27. Now, to calculate it, 1999 to date is 21 years. Now add like 5 4 years that will give you about this. These are the children that grew up within the democratic period when there was no authority that could check the activities of themselves and their parents in the villages. And this is why these children developed a different side. They could misbehave, and there was no one within their own community that could control them to order. And this is what is happening today. This is the result. This is the reason that you are having these Fulani, behaving in the manner they are behaving today. So it is a gap. So, well, it is all, like I said, it is all an issue of collapse of local authority. It's a total collapse of local authority. The farmers Fulani clash has always been there, right from history. It has always been, but it has always been effectively contained by the presence of traditional authorities within. Authority has to be present 24 hours. Authority has to be present 24 hours. Today, in the villages in our forests, do not have authorities that is present with 24 hours. The only people you have around are policemen who hardly come around, because these are not these. And in any case, the difference between a community head and a policeman is so big, because the policeman is from somewhere. He's not an indigenous community. He doesn't live even there probably. So he is not a person that can really arbitrate and do it with justice and fairness. But the local mayor will definitely do justice and fairness because he lives within. And whatever the decision he might take might bring around on him if he does not take a fair decision. So the fundamental issue is that the farmers of Fulani clashes were contained by the presence of traditional authorities who could always weigh in and settle the disputes amicably. But unfortunately, when we came into this long period of democratic government with a local government system that has not really gone down into the grassroots level, there is total collapse of authority in the villages, and the Fulani, do not even know, there is a local government councillor who ever exists anywhere. So this is why I'm telling you that it is that gap that made the Fulani affairs to continue to multiply in so many different dimensions. Until today we have Fulanis, holding guns instead of their normal stick. And extorting money. These boys now smoke anything. They drink anything. And they have guns in their hands. And they are looking for money.
So, sir, being that you grew up in a community of the Fulanis and you've had enough of information of these Fulanis. Now, what do you think is the main motive why these Fulani people are doing what they're doing now? This killing. What do they want to achieve? What is it? The revenge? As the community, what happened? You understand? Were they offended? Were they being harassed that now they decided to start taking revenge like this? What do you think is the motive behind all these things?
this is a thing that has already taken so many dimensions. But importantly, it is you look at the background, look at the root cause, because if you discuss the dimensions, the branches, you can cut so many branches, but if the roots are there, this thing will still go. So what is fundamental is for the root cause of the problem to be arrested. And the root cause of this problem, like I told you, is the lack of authority within our villages that can take decisions, that can make these people behave, that can make them coexist with other communities in peace. The same authorities that they use to recognize. These authorities are still there, and they still recognize them to this day. But they do not have powers whatsoever to do anything. They do not have powers to take any action that would be final, that would be a decision that the Fulani must respect. So they have turned out to be kidnappers, they have turned out to be thieves, they have turned out to be armed robbers, they have turned out to be anything because there is money in it. They are now looking. But I will tell you, when you go into the villages, their parents and grandparents are still there, and they know all of them, and they can make them behave.